We're here with the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, the President of Poland, Karol Nawrocki,
Good morning.
the President of Finland, Alexander Stubb, the President of the European Investment Bank, Nadia Calvino, and the CEO of Sanofi, Paul Hudson. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, this question, can Europe defend itself, has really been thrust into the forefront as Donald Trump threatens allies over Greenland. As we wait for Trump to deliver a statement in just a few hours, there has been so much discussion in the past few days, not only about the potential for a trade war with Europe, but also even the collapse of the NATO alliance itself. And with that, Mr. Secretary General, I'd like to begin with you, because with the U.S. still a guarantor of European security, are European NATO allies hostage to Trump's demands?
Well, listen, NATO, since 1949, is the transatlantic alliance. And I think we have to be very careful in considering the fact that the US and Canada are not only in NATO to prevent the historic mistake the US made, in their own view, after the First World War, which was retreating from the world stage, and then the long arm of history reaching out to the US again in the Second World War, not wanting to repeat that mistake. They are in NATO because NATO is crucial not only for the defense of Europe, but also for the defense of the United States. For the United States to stay safe, you need a safe Arctic, a safe Atlantic, and a safe Europe. And all the military and all the politicians in the US know this, and we really have to be mindful of this. So when the question is Europe safe? Yes, Europe is safe because of what Europe is doing itself within NATO, but also because we have that strong transatlantic relationship.
But we know the history, we know the stakes. Let's talk about the current dynamics. And I'd like to ask you, for perhaps a bit of reflection here, did you ever think that you would ever see one NATO member threaten the territorial integrity of another? I mean, you have now the Prime Minister of Greenland telling his public an attack cannot be ruled out.
Listen, my role as NATO Secretary General, when there is tension within the alliance, it has been there in the past between Greece and Turkey, there have been other moments when there was tension, then my predecessors always took the view that they should not comment on that in public. That's impossible. Why is that impossible? Because as soon as I do, I cannot any longer help to somehow, with others, of course, not me, only myself, but of course with other leaders, to basically diffuse the tension, to de-escalate, etc. That's why you will not hear me comment. You can be assured that I'm working on this issue behind the scenes, but I cannot do that in public. Sorry, no comments from me on Greenland.
Well, sometimes behind the scenes comments do become public in various ways, as we've seen in the past few days.
That's true.
You've talked about security in the Arctic. No matter how you come out of this Greenland row, I mean, it really seems as if the dynamics have fundamentally changed within NATO. You have Macron saying yesterday, we are shifting to a world without rules. Hasn't all of this fundamentally damaged the foundations of NATO, the shared trust, the shared values?
Of course, I see that there are these tensions at the moment. There's no doubt. Again, I'm not going to comment on that, but I can assure you the only way to deal with that is, in the end, thoughtful diplomacy. So statements from me will not add anything here. And when it comes to the Arctic, I think President Trump is right. Other leaders in NATO are right. We need to defend the Arctic. We know that these sea lanes are opening up. We know that China and Russia are increasingly active in the Arctic. There are 8 countries bordering on the Arctic. 7 are a member of NATO. That's Finland and Sweden and Norway and Denmark, Iceland, Canada and the US. And there's only 1 country bordering on the Arctic outside NATO, and that's Russia. And I would argue there is a 9th country, which is China, which is increasingly active in the Arctic region. So President Trump and other leaders are right. We have to do more there. We have to protect the Arctic against Russian and Chinese influence. And that's exactly what NATO ambassadors decided to do in September. We are working on that, making sure that collectively will we defend the Arctic region.
I'd like to turn to Poland now. You have traditionally been furiously pro-American in terms of, efforts to keep them on board as a guarantor of security in Europe. You've turned the term to the Greenland dispute, and again, this was a comment that I understand you made last week, a matter between the Danish Prime Minister and President Trump. Just briefly, do you still stand by that after everything that you've seen in the past days and weeks?
Of course, United States of America are the most important Polish bilateral ally, but we also appreciate a lot NATO